So this beautiful piece right here came to me. She is a custom piece that I'm going to be working on, and that always scares me. But the customer wanted a more of a farmhouse rustic look, so that is what we're going to attempt to do. The first thing we had to do is take off the hardware. The customer did not like the hardware that this piece came with, so we are also going to be replacing that as well. And taking the hardware off is the easiest part of this whole process. Next thing is vintage linen, because she wanted white, and we all know white is a really big farmhouse color. So the whole piece is getting white. 2 coats. So to give it that rustic look, we needed to add something more. So I decided to use some prairie gray and just put it in different areas where it would look or make it seem like the piece was aging. And by the way, I am using Paint Pixie brushes. They're awesome. And I dip my paintbrush into both the white and the prairie gray. I think that helps with the blending. It makes it so much easier and it looks more natural. So I alternated with the prairie gray and the white. Where I felt there was too much prairie gray, I ended up putting more white over it, and vice versa. And that's how you kind of get that look. It doesn't have to be, it shouldn't be uniformed. So that's just kind of how I did that. So the customer wanted the tops of this piece to remain wood, but she did want the wood to be a little bit darker. So with the rag, I applied some dark and decrepit on the tops of both. This has this layer and then the top part. Now I have to tell you that I would use dark and decrepit on the white piece as well to make this piece look rustic, but I happen to run out of it. So instead, I'm going to use clear wax and dark wax to darken this piece up and make it look more rustic. Than, it needs to highlight those colors. So I alternate with clear wax and dark wax. I use the clear wax to seal the whole piece, and then the dark wax to give it some pop in the darker pieces, just to make it look more rustic. Again, like with the paint, you just alternate the waxes and you can mix them, you can blend them. The results are awesome. So if you remember, I said that the customer did not like the hardware that this piece had. So we are going to use some Iron Orchid Design wooden knobs, and we're going to make we're going to design our own knobs, our own hardware to put on this piece. So they come in packs of 4. We needed 2 packs because we needed a total of 8 knobs. I painted them with the vintage linen, same white that we used on the piece itself. So the next step is to put a little design on the knobs. We're going to be using Iron Orchid Design knob topper stamps. And I am going to choose I think it's grain sack. It's just, I think that's what goes the best with this piece. So next we have the Flexi Stamper, and this works really well to help with these little stamps and to ink them or for the paint. So I have to tell you, sometimes working with the ink is a little tricky. I did screw up a couple of times where my hand wasn't too steady, but it wasn't a big deal. If you can wipe it off real quickly, it works fine. The only thing is that it's over white paint. You would just have to repaint the knob. Okay folks, so there you have it. She's all done. And unfortunately, the lighting is horrible.